astute practitioner, someone I'm excited to introduce to you. His name is Mr. Isaac Arokoyo. He is an enterprise risk management leader. He has over a decade experience across governance, risk, compliance, finance, treasury, and loss prevention. He currently leads enterprise risk at Custodian Life Assurance in Nigeria, and before that, he was the head of risk and compliance at Shoprite Nigeria, where he led ISO certified frameworks and compliance monitoring across over 20 locations, including a pioneering role that brought ISO 27001 and ISO 22301 into Nigeria's supermarket sector. Earlier in his career, he held roles in investment risk, financial reporting, and treasury, where he didn't start in GRC, he transitioned into it. So I hope you guys are excited to know that the person that is talking to us today didn't just start with cybersecurity, he also transitioned. And that is something that is very important for anybody that is transitioning to cybersecurity today, because it is a very strategic conversation that he's going to be having with us. Beyond corporate risk, Isaac also serves as a senior supernary police officer, bridging corporate governance with law enforcement backed loss prevention. He holds an MBA in finance, fintech and blockchain, an MSc in finance, and he's a CFA candidate. So for those that don't know, CFA is about to be a chartered financial risk analyst, and he's also certified in ISO 31000 and ISO 27001. He is a lead auditor and implementer, and is very vast in ISO 22301. He's also an affiliate member of the Compliance Institute of Nigeria, CIN, and GARP. All right, so with all the fire and ginger, let's make welcome our presenter for today, no other person than Mr. Isaac Arokoyo. Thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to do this. We are so glad to have you come talk to us. So let's have you go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Lamde. I'm indeed very happy to be here. Uh, I'm elated. It's an honor to be part of this noble initiative, uh, the platform that gives up and coming GRC, cybersecurity, and the opportunity to learn, to understand that transitioning or moving or pivoting into that space is not rocket science really. And I'm indeed humbled to be the person to take us through that step. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
so
much.
much. Thank you so much. And in case you don't know, guys, the very first time I introduced the community on LinkedIn, it was like, hey, I'm ready to be a mentor. And I'm like, yes, we are so excited to have you. And when I reached out to him, you were like, of course, I'd love to be. So thank you so much. It's a very, very privilege and honor to have you here. So I'll be stepping down from the stage, and then, of course, you'll take us through your slides and your presentation. All right. Thank you so much, sir. I'm really, really glad to have you here.
Thank you so very much.
All right.
Thank you so very much. Okay, so hello everyone and welcome once again. So whether you are joining from Lagos, uh, Nairobi, London, New York, anywhere else in the world, I see you and thank you for being here. Today's session is called Breaking to GRC, from Rejected to Hired. My name is Isaac Aruku, as you all know. I'm an enterprise risk management leader, and I've spent the last decade transitioning. So when she mentioned, "Oh, I didn't start from, I didn't start GRC from World Go from my career." Yes, she's actually very correct. And like I said, I'm still transitioning because it's a very huge space. You know, moving from finance into the world of GRC. And I'm here to tell you something very important. You don't need to be a hacker. You don't need to learn codes, right? Before you can break into cybersecurity. You don't need 10 certifications. So if you check my profile, I'm actually building that profile. My profile is not top notch. It's not like very huge, but then it's from going from zero to something. It's something that you can do gradually. I'm here to tell you something important. You absolutely need you don't actually need to actually start as a SOC analyst or someone who knows how to do a lot of things around technology. You just need a roadmap, basically. So, and I won't overflog it, and that's exactly what I'm going to give you today. So, moving to the next, moving to the next slide. So, before I go further, I want to know who's in the room. So, by show of hands, if you don't mind, or in the chat, just let me know if you are coming from finance background, or you can just type it into the chat actually. Those who are from finance, banking, accounting, just just by raise of hand or by typing into the chat, just let us see. I know I can't see a lot of people from my own end here. I don't know if my host can see, but then I will encourage that we just type in our backgrounds where we currently function from. Now, if you are from IT, tech, or engineering, also please feel free to type in. Like I can see, okay, yes, I can see D actuarial or actuary. So just type in. I just want to like feel how you feel. If you are from healthcare, education, or government, if you work with government also, just type in into the chat. If you work within the retail space, logistics, or manufacturing, type into the chat. And if you're a student or recent graduate, please type into the chat. So or maybe you are returning to work after a career break. I know quite a lot of people who are trying to break into that space. They've retired from their regular work and trying to break into that space. Here's my point actually. Whatever industry you are coming from, right? Your skills are transferable. Be an actuarial, be an engineer, be it anything, finance, treasury, your skills are transferable. And I can tell you for free, so I started my career like with being from strategy and corporate governance. Then I moved, right, transitioned into quite a number of roles in financial reporting, management reporting. Of course, I'm a CFA candidate, so of course, you should know I did a lot of investment analysis, right? VAR, value at risk, did a lot of Excel modeling for financial analysis, and I wasn't a risk person at that point. But guess what? Let me just start by busting three major myths, right? Maybe we can move to the next slide. So myth one is that you don't need to be a hacker, like I said, and I repeat it: you do not need to write codes or hack system or do penetration testing. Those are even high level language. They are deep languages in cybersecurity. So that's one career path. So doing pen testing, doing writing codes are have their own path entirely, and that's one career path. GRC is completely another different path, right? So me too is that you don't need 10 certification, like I said. So I have a few, but I got them over several years. I didn't just get them once. You can start with zero, like I mentioned. I mean, three is that you don't need to start as a SOC analyst. So many people think the only way into cybersecurity or GRC is through becoming a security operations center person or working night shifts. That's not true, really. So the truth is this: GRC is a bridge between business and security. So, and that bridge needs people like you, people who can think, write, access, and communicate, basically. So, if you are going to be a GRC person, be very certain that you are going to be doing quite a lot of reporting. You know, you do a lot of reporting, just so that you know. So let's get back to track now to the basics. What actually is GRC? So governance, that's the rules of the road, right? Uh, in this part, you do a lot of policies, frameworks, you know, you put a lot of controls, who checks, who makes decision, who has the delegation of authority to do what and what not, right? On the risk side, which is the R, that's spotting potholes. Risk is basically identifying risk, right? What could go wrong, assessing how bad it could be, and then how to prevent it, right? And the compliance side of it is basically simple. That follows the traffic laws, right? So making sure the organization follows regulations like GDPR, ISO 27001, NIST, SOC 2, quite a number of them, ISO 31000. So in simple terms, GRC is keeping the organization safe, legal, and well managed. That's it. So I don't want to bug you with so much intricacies, details that you don't need. Sincerely, I want to just explain what GRC is and tell you that it is very easy to transition into a GRC expert. It might take a number of months, a number of years. For me, I've been transitioning right for like 7 years to 10 years now. But for you, I believe it can be much more easier. Now, you might be thinking, what do GRC people actually do? What is a typical day like for a GRC person or professional? Here's the real day. Number one, you review policies. I mentioned at some point that you might actually get into reporting, like basically you are writing reports, from reports to um, first line managers, to reports to second line people within your space, to your board, to the auditors. So it's basically a day of reviewing policies, and those policies would, like I said, would need you to put into them a lot of controls, not roadblocks, controls to enable the organization to thrive. Now, you will be reviewing vendors, third parties, supplier assessments, vendor assessments. And why are you doing this? You are doing this to forestall any form of risk, right? You'll be supporting audits, like I mentioned. Internal and external auditors come and you have to help them understand the controls. Now, you write reports for leadership, like I mentioned, for the board, explaining in plain English. And we have a lot of tools, of course. So as you go, you transition into the role fully. There are tools that we use. We have the heat map. We have a lot of tools, right? Which is basically the kind of thing you basically be doing, right? And you have lots and lots of stakeholder meetings. You need to do a lot of awareness sessions, a lot of onboarding for new joiners, a lot of communications to your board, and the board will definitely communicate back to you. So you will do a lot of meetings. In fact, let me just summarize it. You are partly a writer, you are partly an analyst, you are partly a consultant, you are a teacher too, right? And if that sounds interesting to you, then you are in the right place. Next slide, please. So why should you, as a career changer, consider GRC? First, like I said, no coding required. I can't say this enough. I will keep repeating it. I don't write codes, but then I have other tools I can really use to write codes. That's and that entire discussion entirely. Secondly, it's a blend of business and security. So your skills currently as a first line person. So I wouldn't want to mention the model, but for those who understand what I'm saying, the three line defense model, you as a first line person, you are already operating at that level where you have transferable skills, right? That could actually assist the company. So your current skills, whatever industry you are coming from, is transferable. Thirdly, high demand, right? Low supply. That's how GRC is. It's in high demand in every industry, especially if you're an enterprise wide risk personnel. You are going to be cutting across HR. You're going to cut across quite a lot of roles, finance, actuarial department for those for specific industries that use their skills, uh, credit risk. Just mention it. So companies globally are desperate to have GRC people. So, and I get messages from recruiters weekly myself, actually. So I tend to choose what I want to do, right? The fourth is that it is a fast entry profession. So you can get to GRC in 6 to 12 months, right? Not 2 to 3 years like technical roles where you have to start writing exams. I know it's some certain roles that you have all through your life. You write exams. I was talking to a friend of mine not too long before I joined the call. All his life, in fact, we know him as a bookworm. He reads. He's an actuarial. He's now a fellow. But all his life, he keeps reading and reading. Even when we were starting up our careers, my friend reads up until like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. But I wasn't at that point a GRC professional. I was in finance. But surprisingly, during COVID-19, or before COVID-19, 2019, 2018, I transitioned fully into a GRC person, and I'm still growing. So it's not a role that you have to use so much time to transition into, and companies are so desperate to have the GRC professionals right now. And that's not sales pitch. That's what the market reality. Next slide, please. So I would love to take you through my transitioning journey, how I transitioned into GRC. Now I will show you using this timeline because I want to be honest. I'm coming here to share my experience, to share what I did, to share how it was for me, right? So between 2011 to 2016, I was in e-payments, treasury, and strategy, right? No GRC at all. I wasn't doing GRC. I just learned business and finance, understanding how the business operates. Between 2016 to 2019, I was in core financial reporting. Like I say, I always make this of myself that I'm actually I learned accounting like a mechanic will learn how to fix a car, not going to school. So I'm not a chartered accountant, but I basically had hands-on knowledge of accounting. I can prepare the financial statement, I understand financial, I can interpret it, right? So I learned at that point I was able to learn the basis of compliance because there are actually IFRS rules that you have to follow in preparing these accounting statements or the financial statements rather. So, but still, there was no GRC title at that point. Now, from 2019 to 2021, I became an investment risk manager. So, which means that my skills from being a first line of defense person is transferable. Or it's actually transferable. So, I transitioned or transfer those skills to become an investment risk manager, and that was my first role in risk and in title, right? Now, from 2020 to 26, just I was basically neck and body deep in risk management and compliance, where I was the risk and compliance manager for RSNL, the owner of Shoprite, and that's why I went deep into GRC and got my ISO certifications, right? And from 2026 to now, I have moved. Currently, I lead enterprise-wide risk management with my current employer, and this journey took me around 6 to 7 years. But here's the good news, like I said earlier on, you can do this within 2 to 3 years if you are intentional and you want to learn slowly in the journey. And for those of us who have the opportunity to work in places where risk risk management program operates, I know the risk manager would have this risk champion program. I would encourage you to join that program. That was the turning point for me. So whilst I was doing my other rules before I became a GRC person, I was a risk champion. So I was basically used to the risk register and how it works. And I began to change I had this paradigm shift from being someone who is just on the first line to somebody who starts thinking what can go wrong, what should not go wrong, how do we manage this process. And for surprisingly, many of us do it currently in our current space. As a student, I know you do quite a lot of risk management you don't know, right? You think of, oh, I don't want to take, I want to study, I don't want to fail. And what's the risk of not reading? The risk is that you might fail. So studying is the mitigation that you are putting in place to make sure you don't fail. You can see how very simple I have applied it. That's how it is. The next slide, please. So, like, here's the biggest myth of all. You don't need experience, right? So you keep saying, oh, I need experience to get experience. No, that's a trap. You don't, most people are trapped because they simply feel, oh, before you can get into a role, you have to have you have experience in that role. You have to be grounded. If not, the recruiters will not recruit you. That wasn't my case. Like during my interview to become an investment risk person, I was able to walk them through my journey, you know, on how to manage the asset and liability and how to match it. Basically, they wanted somebody who understand ALM. And as an ALM person, ALM inclined person, I was able to walk them through it. And guess what? I got the role. And from there till now, I am very grateful for the fact that I did not get stuck in the fact that I have need experience to get experience. And here's the reality: you can build GRC experience without a job starting today. So write a sample risk assessment, pick any department in your current company. It could be in HR, IT, finance, and write a one-page risk assessment. Like I said, join or I try to join the risk champion program in your companies or your entities. That will give you the opportunity to have first experience, first line action on how to work around risk assessment. So map a framework to a fake company if you can have one. And maybe you can just download any of those standards like NIST, CSF, or ISO 2001 or 2231. They're all free. And map the controls to pretend like a company, have a fake company. Volunteer for small business, help a local NGO or a friend's business write simple policies and document everything. And if you have policies within your space, try to take one of your policies in your current company, read it through, and try to understand where We have the different um, 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 the different tricks on how to write proper policies. So document everything on LinkedIn. So for example, if you really want to get that visibility, like my host said that the day we connected was the day she posted this idea, this platform, and I just connected right there and then. So you try to go networking on LinkedIn, write things about what you've learned. You'll be surprised to see other people contribute to it, help you expand your knowledge, right? And stop waiting for permission to start building. The title follows the work. Just do the work. Put yourself in the path to understand the GRC, and GRC then embraces you. Next slide, please. Now, I would just mention quite a few GRC frameworks, right? And I understand that as we have a lot of people from different regions, from Europe, from North America, from Africa, Asia, Middle East, Latin America on this call, right? And all these standards I'll be mentioning are localized to them. For example, and one that is very global here is ISO 27001. You notice it is basically used across the globe here. I think I missed out one also, but that one is basically core responsibility. That's ISO 31000, and also ERM. Those ones are core ERM, not cybersecurity. But then all of these that we have here are data protection, information security, um, frameworks. So for Europe, there's this focus on GDPR, ISO 2001, and DORA. North America, we have an NIST. You can just take notes of these frameworks and do your research. We have CSF, SOC 2, and IPA. Africa, NDPR. That's the localized form of GDPR. Data protection in Kenya and Ghana, right? We have ISO 20001. We have for Asia PDPA in Singapore, PIPL in China. ISO 20001 is common here. Middle East, you have the INESA in UAE, PDPL in Saudi. Latin America, LGPD in Brazil, ISO 2001. So you can see the pattern that ISO is basically everywhere, like I said. And that's why I recommend it as your first framework. I am a lead implementer and lead auditor, ISO 20001 certified person. I got both of them during the lockdown. So there was enough time for me to read through the framework, and I wrote the exams and I passed. So you can actually make use of this, or try to understand this framework too. Next slide, please. So what actually did what I actually did to build experience, right? Let me just give you specific example of what I did, and you can actually copy it. So, like I said, I wrote risk register as a treasury lead, as a risk champion, right? Even though risk wasn't in my title, so I was conversant and very well grounded in the risk register. I understand how it works and I understand what to do with it, right? So you can write one for your current department this week. Like I said, try to join the risk champion program, volunteer for it. That will help you. I volunteered for compliance projects too. There are quite a number of compliance projects that my industry then, the one where I worked, I actually worked in the financial services industry, that they put up for people to come in. I took up those challenges. You can walk over to your compliance team and say you want to learn, and let them give you something to do around compliance. And I documented everything. So as I keep growing, I keep documenting, right? So your experience, just keep documenting in your LinkedIn, and then you post weekly. These are small wins actually. So and I took the bold step to get certified as a senior lead risk manager, ISO 1000, right? And this is well, it looks expensive. I know a lot of people like all these ISOs I'm dropping. Is it free? Is it cheap? It depends on your region, depending on where you are. It's not too expensive for some people, but with the right mindset, of course, you can write this exam, and I can show you can pass. So I didn't have a GRC job when I started doing my GRC work. I just started, and also you can actually start too. Next slide, please. Now, just to give you a few of my achievements, real results now, very realistic results. Now, let me show you proof that if you know GRC, it impacts your work and it's actually measurable, all right? Because talk is cheap. We can keep talking about, oh, GRC helps to build operational resilience. GRC helps the company to make decisions. GRC this, GRC that. But then you have to be able to show results. Number one is that I was where in place I've worked, we had years where we had zero. I mean, when I say zero, compliance. Sorry, 1 minute, please. Where you had zero compliance infraction, right? Of course, uh, we're able to reduce audit exception by 50% in at some point, right? Then we were able to reduce control breaches also by about 75%, right? And then in implementing risk tech implementation across board, right? Taking it from the manual, rigorous process of writing Excel and macros and the rest, we're able to save our effort by 40%. So these contributions are on my CV. I'm very proud of it. Like I display it like my own. I own it because it's part of what the things I've done, and this has got me hired several times. It gives when I put on my CV and recruiters see it, it gives the opportunity for them to call me and want to hear my story. So I would, like I said, once you begin to get into GRC, track your impact, even in small ways. Write write things down, document what you have done, and guess what? You'll be hired. It's that simple. Next slide, please. Now, there's a quick roadmap, right? A quick roadmap that you can follow visually. I will show you step by step. First is to learn the basics. So, like I keep mentioning frameworks. Learn the frameworks and understand the frameworks. Then build. Create your own portfolio. Do sample policies, sample registers, join the risk management program, build that muscle, right? Then document all you have gained. Put them on LinkedIn, put them in your CV, right? Then network. Make sure I would have met my host if I have not reached out to her via LinkedIn. Also, although we have a mutual friend in between us, but I never met her through the mutual friend. I met her directly on LinkedIn myself. So you DM professionals and then attend webinars as this. Attend quite a number of it. When we go into technical webinars around GRC, maybe at that point, at some point when we get there, please do make sure you attend. Then apply, set up job alerts for the roles in GRC, in cybersecurity that you are interested in. Then go for interview prepared with answers, and then you get hired. It's very simple, very straightforward. So from my story, you can understand that I took this part too. I learned, I built, I documented, I networked, right, and then applied these skills daily, and I was able to prove it at the point of interview, and I got hired. So you are here, right? So your goal is to what? Get hired. This funnel works, and I went through it, and you can too actually. Now, on the next slide, let me give you specific 6 months timeline. So, month 1 or 2, you can learn basics like this framework, the NIST, and I think I will be more vocal about ISO 2001. It's one of the most easiest frameworks to understand, right? And it gives you the accurate risk management fundamentals, and then there are a lot of useful free resources, right, on it on YouTube, LinkedIn Learning, and free PDFs. My host will be sharing one which I've put together, where you can get a lot of insights, resources on how to get all these frameworks and understand them. Month 3 to 4, get a foundational certification, right? My recommendation is for you to get ISO 27001, and I recommend ISO 1000 because it works very well for this for GRC, right? And you can get all security plus if you want more technical background, right? So between month 5 to month 6, you can build 2 to 3 portfolio projects and network aggressively, like I mentioned. Remember this portfolio is more important than paper. So you don't just make sure you have enough things you've done to show the skills you've acquired. So if you're not able to show the evidence of what you've done, then it makes it even more harder for you to transition fully. So you should be able to reference to things you've done, right? And what you can do matters more than what you studied. So you don't just come talking what theory, be able to practicalize it. That's very important. Next slide, please. Now, what a one page one page portfolio you can show to any employer. What should your portfolio look like? Number one, you should have created a one page PDF with 4 items. First is a sample policy that you have done, like I mentioned. So, and make sure that all those policies are very, very they apply to that industry easily. Now, I will be specific to the IT space. So we have the access control policy, for example. You can actually Google all this online and understand what the policy looks like. So this proves that you can write. You can read through and then write one. Second is have a sample risk register and Excel with risk listed, the risk identified, the likelihood, impact, mitigation, residual risk, and this proves that you can assess risk, right? And the third one is a controls mapping. Show how Analyst controls map to ISO 2001. So this proves you understand frameworks. And fourthly, a vendor risk assessment template. This proves you can evaluate third parties. This sets you apart from 90% of applicants, and most people just like certification. Like I said in one of my posts on LinkedIn, certifications, gives you the voice to talk in the room, right? But what really makes you get hired is the experience, of course, which I said you need to get through practicalizing what you have learned. But you need to be competent. So, and once you're able to put all these three together, I can tell you, the sky is your starting point. Next slide, please. So I hope we are all following. So networking feels awkward. So I know some people like, oh, networking, how do I even network? So it's actually not easy to network because you can just send that LinkedIn request to that person. Person takes the request, and then it will not look as if, oh, you are not able to translate to meaningful relationship. But here's how to do it without feeling fake, right? Make sure after you network on LinkedIn, comment on their posts, on those professional their posts, right? Comment on GRC posts, add value to your post. Don't just say great post or exciting role. No, make sure you're able to interpret whatever it is being said. And I think you should follow Olamide Popola. She writes quite a lot. I think she has is it 31 or 30 days challenge on cybersecurity that she myths about cybersecurity that she has been posting. So you go there, make sure you connect, and you write, right? DM 3 people per week with genuine questions, right? Now, can you give me no, don't go there asking for a job when you don't have experience, right? I saw your post on this, and I want to get a job. No, what you need is basically I saw your post about ISO 2001. I'm learning what resource helped you most. Questions like that. Attend free webinars like this one, and share what you are learning daily. Even small wins, right? No win is too small. Authenticity beats perfection. So most professionals will respond to genuine efforts and respond to and they will respond to your DM. I personally respond to every DM I get, especially for those who are interested in understanding what I do for a living. Next slide, please. Now let me prep you for interviews. So here are 4 questions you will likely will get. Number one is uh how would you explain risks to a non-technical CEO? So you have some CEOs who are not risk experts. A typical answer will be, oh, risk is a chance uh something bad happens, and my job is to reduce that chance and prepare for it. Very simple. I've not used anything technical. I could have started defining, oh, risk register, the heat map, risk identification process. Those are words, buzzwords that could turn off somebody who doesn't understand anything around risk at all. And that question is, oh, what's the difference between a policy and a procedure? So then you are stuck. So what policy is, what the rule, right? While procedure is how. So policy is the what, procedure is the how. Simple. And the how is the step by step of how things is done. So which we basically call SOP. So number 3 is, oh, walk me through how you prepare for a SOC 2 audit. So you can say, oh, first, understand the controls. Second, gather evidence. Third, do readiness assessment. Fourth, fix gaps. Fifth, bring in the auditor. So, like I said, you don't have to go all out to say put together things that could complicate what you are trying to explain in interviews. Do it gradually, right? And it will be useful. And I think one useful methodology I use in interviews is the STAR method. And I think it's something I may imbibe right from my days as an entry level a newbie in the professional space. So STAR method is SES stands for situation. Be able to explain the situation. Task, right? T for task. A is the action you took, and the result you get from it is R. So, and that will help you quite a lot. So the next slide, please. So these are sample entry level jobs titles that you can search for. Once you have that confidence that you have learned, you are good, and you are good to go, right? What you should actually search for on LinkedIn on job board should not be GRC manager. Some of you will, oh, I want to be GRC manager. It takes a number of years, and like I said, I didn't just jump into that space. I learned, right? I transitioned gradually. So roles like compliance analyst, risk analyst, governance analyst, top party risk analyst, GRC associate, internal control analyst, right? These are entry level titles. So you can set up job alerts on job platforms, LinkedIn, for example, and then apply to those jobs. And then if you don't meet, if you don't have to meet all their requirements 100%, but then of course you are building, like I said. The next slide. Now, just like I mentioned in my area earlier slides, right? Title follows the work. You don't put the work before the title. So once you've worked, right? Once you've worked, then you can end that title. I didn't just end the title enterprise risk leader or leadership or just in one day. It took a journey. It took about 7 years actually to get there. And here's my number one piece of advice. The most important thing I will tell you today: the title follows the work, not the other way around. Start now, document, then get the title later. Don't wait for anybody's permission. Don't wait for the perfect certification. Don't wait for someone to give you a chance. Do the work first, then title comes. It's as simple as that. We are gradually getting to the end of our presentation, but I won't leave you without, the next slide, please. I won't leave you without giving you the key takeaways. Stop waiting, start building, right? You don't need permission to start. Your first draft doesn't have to be very perfect. And like I said, you do this draft, share with the experienced people to help you review, right? You don't need to be a hacker or a coder. Your GRC is a door, and it's always open for everyone. And the only thing standing between you and GRC career is starting. Don't start. It's as simple as that. Next slide. So let me leave you with this. Um, you don't need to like I said, you don't need anyone's permission. But surprisingly, I'm not sure we can talk here. I would have asked some questions, but of course, I know you have your questions here, right? Some questions you have questions. But here are some questions I get. How do I find a mentor? How do I get GRC experience without a job? And I've answered them in my few minutes of talking to us. What does a researcher actually looks like? I think I've sent a sample through my host. You get that one just right after this position. How do I explain my non-GRC background in interviews? Which certification should I take first with no budget? I will. So all these questions are easy, right? No fluff, no plenty, whatever. You can drop your questions in the chat box and I will answer them. But these are questions I've answered. You can find a mentor by going on LinkedIn, networking, GRC experience. You can get that by volunteering in your current space where you work. A risk register is what you would definitely be exposed to once you're a risk champion, because that's basically what you use in documenting your departmental risk, and then at some point the enterprise-wide risk, right? So, and I've mentioned also, you don't need too much of explanation in your interviews. Not too much of explanation. Just go straight to the point. Explain in simple details in your interviews, and then your to get certifications is you don't have to get everything once. Gradually, start with understanding frameworks. You can use YouTube, LinkedIn Learning, several resource online. I've dropped some. You will see that right after the program. My host will share with you, and that's it. So I'll be pausing for a few moments to take questions. I don't know if we can take questions now.
Thank you very much. Wow, this has been so packed. Guys, can we have some emojis? Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate comments. And if you have questions, please drop them so I can pin them to the to the screen so our guests can see. Thank you so much. This is really packed. Like, wow. Now I'm like, like I'm sitting on something. Guys, so yes, if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. And of course, we want to see your questions. Drop your questions, then I'll pin them so that it can answer. Host would also be giving us, he provided some useful resources. So that will be provided after the webinar. When we like conclude everything tomorrow, we'll be like putting that on the WhatsApp group. So if you have not joined our WhatsApp channel, please go ahead and join, because you're going to be getting loads of information in that WhatsApp channel, because there's going to be a lot happening. And then I know some of you are also already excited and asking to join the different groups within the Tribe Global community. I will open that up after we explain what each of those rooms are for. But thank you so much. Yes, emojis. Someone said you're a good resource as well.
Thank you, Shay. Thank you, Shay. I appreciate.
Yes, okay. Yes, we'll be dropping his LinkedIn handle as well in the group chat, so you can network with him, connect with him. Yes, we'll be dropping his LinkedIn. So everything, all the resources he mentioned today, how to connect with him, everything will be on the WhatsApp channel. You know that YouTube it's a public place and all that. And so we'll be providing all those useful resources. All right, so if you have any questions, please drop it now in the chat so that I can ask him. We have about 9 minutes to the end of this fourth session. So your questions are welcome, so I can pin them. Yes, you can just search for. So somebody said, what is our speaker's LinkedIn name? Okay, so yeah, we'll drop that. We'll drop that on the channel. His name is Isaac Arokoyo, and then I think there's an MBA at the back of it. So if you want to check him up on LinkedIn now, but we'll be dropping his LinkedIn handle on the chat. With one of the exercises that we're going to also be doing tomorrow is connecting on LinkedIn and endorsing each other. But I don't want us to do that now, because I want us to kind of do it after we've gone through this training. So I know that you are informed, you know what to do, and then we can then connect on LinkedIn and endorse each other. So that is going to come tomorrow. So thank you, sir. Yes. So I'm just going to be pinning some of the comments we have. So Ireti saying thank you for this very insightful roadmap. Okay, so we have a question. Is CRIT, CISA, or CSM certificate required? So I just pinned the question to the chat, sir.
Okay, so thank you, Shay, for that question. So this, I think this particular platform is breaking into GRC. And I mentioned something, maybe you missed it. I mentioned that certification gets you into the room, right? Experience is what you use in convincing your interviewer. But to show competence, you don't stop reading. So once you become CISA certified, CISM certified, and become a chartered risk practitioner, you have clearly caught yourself or put yourself in that pedestal that shows that you are now a risk, daring towards becoming a risk expert. So and that's how it is. Once you begin to go towards that direction, that means you are mainly you are how do I call it now? You are
OG.
you are becoming an OG. You want to say yes, I can do this. This is me. So my I certifications opened the doors, right? But does that mean that we do? I don't know if you saw that. Okay, during the introduction, she mentioned I'm a member of GARP, that's Global Associate of Risk Practitioner (GAP). So at some point in time, you just need to have these certifications to show that yes, you are a professional in that line. But it's just like having ICANN, your ACA attached to your name. You understand? So it shows that you are a professional on that line. And at that moment, you begin to join in that community of people who are in GRC fully. And of course, it is required, but not now at the point when you're trying to transition. So you are only transitioning now, but by the time you get into it fully and it becomes your line, your career path, then of course this is important. And when you are going to get senior roles, become a GRC manager. At first, I mentioned, oh, becoming an analyst, compliance analyst, an associate. But by the time you want to become a manager, you should have all this certification. It is very, very important. That clearly separates the boys from the men. Thank you very much. I hope I've been able to answer that question,
Yes,
Sheila.
sir. So I've pinned another question. So I'll just be pinning them so I don't interrupt your flow. So I have another
Okay.
question pinned today. You can see it,
I
sir.
don't want to say that when the company is trying to be compliant to a standard, they will have to go through the whole process of GRC. Yes, of course. So I'm opportune to have implemented information security management system for one of the companies I worked for, right? So and like I said, one of the things you would that is very very critical is this GRC part of it. You would definitely have to go through that process too, right? It is very, 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 very important that they go through it, which is why there's no most people who have except it's a a low budget project or for a full blown project, you must have somebody who does GRC for that project, a GRC person, right? It could be an IT implementation project. It could be a process, a policy, implementation project. It could be just any project. So a GRC person must actually be on ground, helping to make sure you are able to, you know, follow the correct process. And those things are usually ingrained in the policies as been written, right? In your policies, in your processes, who should do what, separation of duty, and all. So it's all there, and it's part of the whole process. Thank you. This one says, "Good day and thanks for sharing your insights, Mr. Rukoyo. I'm new to cybersecurity with little technical knowledge. Is GRC better suited for someone with?" I have said this over and over again. So you don't need any technical knowledge about around GRC to transition to GRC, right? So just start by offering yourself or putting yourself forward to understand what it takes. One of it is, like I said, is making sure that you join the risk management program or risk champion program in your company, where you are taking through the process of updating your risk register, identifying risk, and all that. So you don't really need so much technical knowledge to get into that space. It just takes you and your intentions and your seriousness, basically. So another one says, "Oh, good day and thanks for sharing your insights, Mr. Alukuyo." Oh, I think it's same question. Do you have any other question again? Okay, I'm not sure there are
No,
any other
we,
questions
we
now.
already answered through the questions. So
Thank you.
we're just saying thank you. And then okay, Shay was clarifying, he said was just asking to know where to go for a start if it helps. Yes. So,
So
so,
see,
so,
I want to say something again. Sorry, 1 minute. One thing is before you even venture into going into certifications, right? Understand the frameworks. So two key frameworks or three. I will depending on what you want to do. If you are going to cybersecurity, start with the ISO 27001, right? It is very practical. It's easy. If you want to go into full risk management, like an enterprise-wide risk person, also ERM is a very good way to start. And if you want to really, really get yourself acquainted to risk management process fully, you can do the ISO 1000. That's the risk management framework itself, and it's very easy. They are very easy. Just go online, search about them. You'll see it. Very practical and easy. Thank you very much.
all right. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate, guys. Can I see the emojis? Can we say thank you in the chat? Thank you. And yes, this session is recorded and it will be available to review later for those that actually joined late. So I see some people saying, "Oh, I came late," and is this session recorded? Yes, so if you have learned anything, can you please put your learnings in the chat? What did you learn from this session? He has said so much. If I'm going to just do a very quick recap, he mentioned at the beginning that he transitioned into cybersecurity. So he didn't even start with cybersecurity, which is one of the reasons why I was excited to bring him to this because we are going from rejected to hired. We want to equip ourselves with the knowledge. We want to equip ourselves with, understanding and where to start from. And he mentioned something very important. You cannot, don't, this is 2026, don't build in isolation. I did a 30 days IM framework, like breakdown, for those that are interested in identity and access management, because that is somehow call for the kind of work I do in cybersecurity. I work on different projects, but one of the core projects that I work on is identity and access management, working on how those projects are governed, how they are implemented for different organizations, right, within my technology staff. So that was why I did that, to break it down and say, okay, if you want to start, this is where to start from. So today he has just given us a breakdown. If you want to go into GRC, it is the entry level where you can actually transition. He came from finance, he went into risk management, and now he's into, like, he's a lead in, an enterprise leader in cybersecurity. So if he can, then you can too. And then he mentioned something about, within your organization, volunteer, do everything, put yourself out there and document as you go. Oh, I cannot afford that, I don't have a website. Use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is free. I love the way LinkedIn operates. You can actually pin, write a review, write a report, and pin it to your LinkedIn so that people can see. There's so much to unpack in this webinar, and we have not even scratched the surface. Today we have just done GRC. In another 1 hour or less, we'll have someone come to talk about, how to break into SOC. And this person has also broken into SOC. He didn't even, like, study cybersecurity in university. So yes, we are so excited. Thank you so much, sir. Please log up on him. He joined early. He was here before we even came live, to do test running, mic check and everything. We're so grateful. It's very rare to see professionals, take out time on a Saturday when they could be at a party. But he just decided, I want to come here and impart knowledge. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. We are grateful, and we love having you on the platform. And we are sure that when we call you, now I'm doing Oliver Twist.
Of course.
When we call you again to say,
Of
what, we
course.
want to deep dive, we want to go deep, or maybe one of our community members